The early 2000s, an era that gave rise to reality TV, iPods, Razor scooters, and Piniston were all the rage, and some other stuff happened that I definitely can't talk about here. But in Canadian country music, one name gave rise as the crossover artist between alternative and mainstream. Look, I know I haven't been around for a couple of weeks. I had my comedy special coming out. Got busy. Born in Taber, Alberta, January 29th, 1969. Nice. Corb Lund was a fourth-generation rancher in southern Alberta. His family lore is actually that his great-grandfather was the first person to ride a bronc at the Raymond Stampede. Total side note here, but when I was 14, I went to the Raymond Stampede. I got on a bronc called Blue-Eyed Trapper, and I've never gotten yeeted so high in the air as I did that day. I was in the air for so long, I tried to learn how to fly. But this was the start of the Lund family being ingrained in Canadian rodeo history. At one point during the Raymond Stampede, all 6 bucking chutes had a Lund behind them getting ready to get on their broncs. His dad, DC, was a bulldogger, and his mom, Patty, actually won the Calgary Stampede in the barrel racing. So it was fitting that when Corb was old enough, he started boys steer riding. Once Corb hit high school, he fell in love with music and quickly dropped the rodeo dream. And he enrolled in Grant MacEwan in Edmonton to study jazz, guitar, and bass. It was there in 1989 that Corb Lund helped found The Smalls, which was a hard rock group that went on for another 12 years. The Smalls were unique in that they emerged from the hard punk scene, but they always had some jazz on their albums, and then they also had this like country smattering sprinkled in, and they could seamlessly drift between all the different subgenres of metal and hard rock. They released 4 albums during their lifespan and sold a total of 40,000 copies. Their most successful being My Dear Little Angle. I think it's Angle. I'm not sure if it's Angle or Angel. Honestly, it's spelt like Angle. I'm gonna say Angle. And the recording process for this was also the subject of the Much Music documentary, The Smalls, or whatever. That's actually what it's called. Their live shows were notorious for being rowdy. Across Western Canada, their shows got a ton of attention for being completely unhinged, and they actually got banned from playing in Kamloops because an oversold show had a huge riot and the RCMP had to go and break it up. They're not as rowdy as my crowds. I'm the toughest boy to ever hold a microphone. Get him, Zach! Oh, stop! Stop it! Oh, stop! During his time with the Smalls, Corb founded a small country trio, and they began writing and recording music together. His debut album, Modern Pain, was released in 1995, and it didn't just showcase his cheekiness with tracks like Lament for Lester Cousins, but it also shone a light on his buckaroo upbringing with tracks like We Used to Ride 'Em, which is actually about a pair of spurs, and I don't think a lot of people know that. But the whole thing shows this gothic side to his writing and song structure that really helps him stand out. His 1999 follow-up, Unforgiving Mistress, really shone a spotlight on that with tracks like Mora, Blackberry, and Spanish Armada, but it also showed this seed of cheekiness, a seed that would grow into a full-ass tree on his next album. Released June 11th, 2002, and certified gold in Canada, $5 bill came out and really showed a growth in his songwriting. It was a drastic shift towards this refined storytelling and emphasized the humor with tracks like Time to Switch to Whiskey and the titular track. It won Outstanding Album at the Western Canada Music Awards. He followed this up September 6th, 2005 with another gold record, and truly a monolith. Tear My Eyes Like a Highland Steer really solidified his place in the country genre by building on what worked on the $5 bill and then expanding by doing collaborations with Ian Tyson on The Rodeos All Over and with Tim Huss on Hurtin' Albertan. Its most influential track, The Truck Got Stuck, became really associated with him. I know that Tear My Eyes Like a Highland Steer charted higher on the country charts, but I mean, you still hear The Truck Got Stuck today almost anywhere that you'll go. This album was also his only Juno Award winner for Roots and Traditional album. He followed these up with Horse Soldier in 2007 and Losing Lately Gambler in 2009, before releasing, in my opinion, his best work. Released August 14th, 2012, Cabin Fever really showed Corb going back into those darker themes that he had worked on with his earlier albums, while also expanding on some truly happy tunes. September has this almost surf rock guitar riff in it. Dig Grave Digger is truly black humor at its finest. Cows Around will make anybody smile. Getting Down on the Mountain is a rager. One Left in the Chamber is truly heartbreaking. All in all, it was a fantastic album. In 2013, it made the Polaris Music Prize long list. It was nominated for a Juno for Roots and Traditional Country album, and it peaked at number 1 on the Canadian album charts as well as number 51 on the US country Billboard charts. Recently, alongside releasing one of my favorite albums of 2024, El Veo, Corb has become the biggest voice behind stopping coal mining exploration in the eastern Rocky Mountain slopes. Initially, he brought awareness to the public about this via an Instagram video that he posted in late 2020.
There have been some pretty sweeping changes, some pretty big changes to our coal policy, specifically with open pit mining, coal mining, in something called Category 2 land, which is Crown land that's quite protected until now and quite pristine. And the whole thing seems to have been changed. The policy seems to have been changed pretty quietly.
And it quickly got a lot of attention. There was so much disapproval for this. Eventually, this led to this whole thing being overturned due to environmental concern. Earlier this year, it got approved. Very low key, just quietly passed along. And so Corb's put forward a citizen's petition to help stop it.
I'm not partisan. I don't have any affiliation or affection for any of the parties. This has nothing to do with anything at all political except for not ruining the water in the mountains for all Albertans. And I also have been clear about saying I'm not anti-resource. I understand we need resources, but it doesn't mean that every project is a good idea. And these coal mines in the headwaters of rivers are a terrible idea.
I mean, in all fairness, even if the petition goes through, the Alberta government will just use the notwithstanding clause, since that seems to be their new favorite shiny toy. Spark notes on this: if it went ahead, it would likely ruin the water sources of all of southern Alberta, not just the municipalities, but also all of the farms and ranches. And agriculture is one of, if not the biggest, economic sectors in southern Alberta. And since there's talks that the mines would be run by overseas companies, we wouldn't really get much financial kickback from this. A good analogy would be like if somebody paid you a nickel to cut off both your arms.
Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left!
But back to his music, Corb has helped pave the road for a ton of great country artists to have that alternative and mainstream crossover appeal. His music blends sounds of folk, gothic, Celtic, 60s country ballads, and some really hard rock riffs. Rex, I mean, there's so many. Was Fort Worth worth it? Hair in my eyes like a Highland steer. I want to be in the cavalry. The truck got stuck. It's a bit of a cliche, but I feel like that's one that gets people hooked. There's just too many. Just go and listen to his music. But yeah, that about wraps things up. Go watch my new comedy special if you want to support. If you really want to support, you can buy me a coffee. I want to say thank you to Ben Goodman, who bought me a coffee after watching my special. Subscribe, follow, like, know what your favorite Corb Lund track is in the comments. Or in the comments, roast me for the awful haircut that I gave myself. I'm going to pick the top 3 comments that make fun of my terrible haircut, and I will read them at the end of next week's video. Deuces.